You are very close to achieving your goal, but adjustments are required. That's what I was hearing. So let's do a collective reading and see what you guys are focusing on as far as your goals are concerned. So you can make sure this is yours. All right. What are you guys focusing on? One more. Ooh, 7 wands. That's great. 5 of cups. 10 of cups in reverse with the magician in reverse. So something that you have not, but you've been manifesting it in one way or another. And that doesn't mean just like sitting there and telling yourself that you already have it and believing it. Although I think there's some truth to that. You've been working really hard towards something emotionally, spiritually, and physically, right? But it's bubbling under the surface. The magician is the manipulator of energy, and sometimes he's portrayed as an actual manipulator. And I'm kind of feeling that for this collective, but I don't think you're manipulating people around you. I think you're manipulating your mind. And I think that because you've got 10 of cups in reverse right next to 5 of cups upright. So something that's been a misalliance, something that has been very, very unharmonious in your life. A 10 of cups normally upright, that is like the dream life, right? The love, the family, the house, the job. It's like kind of everything coming together in this beautiful fairy tale ending sort of way, but there's losses here. I do think 7 of wands is great because that's all about like locking in to your goals and just being a dog with a bone. You could have a black dog like this. I love the depiction on this card of 7 of wands. It's just being rabid about your dreams and not letting anything get in your way. And those dreams are not just like, ooh, I want to make sure I wake up earlier tomorrow to go to the gym or whatever. They're like the big things. Makes sense with 10 of cups in reverse here. But again, it's what you're focusing on. That's why I think you're manipulating your thought pattern, because 7 of wands is great. And that's all, it's just a little bit off. Do you get what I'm saying? It feels a little bit like your intellectual mind is trying to really rationalize how you're feeling with 5 of cups by like this confusing narrative you're telling yourself about the 10 of cups. It's like, well, if I just work harder, then I'll get it. And if I don't get it, then it's meant to be, like, then it's never meant to be. And obviously there's truth to that, but it's just the feeling that I'm getting where it's like, I don't know. I could be feeling this too because of what's actually around you being not really what's going on. But the way I started this is adjustments are required. So I want to get your emotion real quick. Just see what this collective emotion is. Possessive. That's kind of what it is. I'm not going to lie. Weakness, but joy. See, it's the back and forth. And again, like the human spectrum of emotion is vast, but if you're going very swiftly from weak to joy, this week says no defenses, worn down, empty, not strong, helpless, vulnerable, can't say no, easy target, and a sitting duck, to joy. Resonance with the universal frequency. It means you're grateful for every moment of your life. It's like whiplash, emotional whiplash. And it feels very jarring because I want to be in the middle just giving you the message, but I kind of feel stuck. And it's this possessiveness. This could be something around you as well. You could feel really restricted in your like actual freedom of movement, whether that be in jobs or relationships with family, whatever. Like anytime you're trying to get out of this weakness, you feel like you're being pulled back by some sort of possessiveness. But I think it's the possessiveness of outcome. I'm not gonna lie. Full moons are about illumination, and that's not always in the physical. Sometimes it is really about illumination of emotional awareness and thought patterns and I don't want to say reality, but because we all create our realities. And I'm noticing like I'm losing energy the more that this reading goes on. And I feel like this sort of pressure in my heart chakra area, and it just feels constricted and a little suffocated. The worn down is what worries me the most. The possessiveness, again, you could be comparing to other people, and you could also, this could be outside influences that are affecting your thought pattern without you realizing it. But with 10 of Cups in reverse, Magician in reverse, we're gonna have to get what's really going on energetically around you. I want to keep the 5 of Wands, but it's the only one I want to keep on this spread, which that's not good. I want to see what this one more for this weakness. Passion. Oh god. I mean, you can have passion for so many things. It's that Ace of Wands energy. Passion for life, passion for creativity, passion for yourself, passion for work. Like, it doesn't always have to be romantic passion. But this is what makes you feel weak. So you could literally be telling yourself that in the face of not getting that 10 of Cups life that you want, and sort of not focusing on the gratitude of the situation, having independence instead of feeling lonely. And again, you don't have to feel that way all the time, but you're sort of like in an aggressive way with the 7 of Wands, being like, oh, I don't need that in my life. I don't need to be so possessive over the feeling of wanting love and companionship, which I talk about all the time. That's such an insane idea. If you want companionship, there's nothing wrong with that. You not having it is not an indicator that you don't deserve it or you don't need it. It just means you don't have it right now. Get what I'm saying? Okay, let's just see. Resentment on the bottom. That could be contributing to it as well. Like, and I find that it really does. People don't realize that they're resenting other people who have what they want, until it gets to a point where you are suppressing yourself emotionally, and then it wears you down and you feel weak. 3 of Coins on the bottom. Collaborative energy. I think that's lacking in your life in one way or another. Okay, so let's just get right into it, because again, I feel like I can't take a deep breath in, and I think that's your energy. It's like I'm hearing you can't take a deep breath in because you can't exhale all the way. So let's just see what's actually around you. What is the energy? Yeah, the Maverick. That's that 7 of Wands. One more. Oh, that's nice. Whoa, a big old chunk. I guess we'll just let them come out together, although that's kind of a huge row. 2112. You could be seeing a lot of mirroring numbers. 323, if your clock's on 24 hours, 1551, whatever it is. But this rule breaker being the first one, that is the energy that's around you. So source is confirming that 7 of Wands, it's not just you trying to get out of whatever you're trying to get out of in your mind. I think you're just applying it incorrectly, because this is about finding independence and being a rule breaker, being a nonconformist, understanding unconventionality, being fearless when you think outside the box. It can sometimes be an energy about being a loose cannon, and I do find that anybody who's open to the frequency of tarot or some sort of magical frequency, we're all rebellious spirits, because let's be honest, in order to break out of what most people are conformed to in their day-to-day life, which is being unawakened in some way, shape, or form, you have to be rebellious, right? But these two together I really, really love. I actually love these 3 together. These 3 feels yucky. We'll get into it in a minute. But being bold and heart-centered with the Lion and finding effective, harmonious communication, that's the lesson that they're trying to teach you right now. So if you're comparing to other people who have that 10 of Cups life that you want, and you feel like it's something wrong with you, it's not. You're learning the lessons right now that you need to learn in order to break the standoffish islands energy that makes you feel like you are separate from your desires and other people, that makes you feel lonely, that makes you feel estranged and standoffish in your energy. It's another card of independence. It's what they're trying to teach you right now. This Lion card is all about having high self-esteem as well. And I find sometimes that people who struggle with independence, not necessarily in their work life, like they're totally functional, normal adults who can like go to work and take care of themselves, but with like social connection, people who just cannot be by themselves for an extended period of time, they don't like themselves. So being alone with their thoughts and themselves, it's a really uncomfortable feeling, and it's really sad because without you knowing, you are constantly looking for validation of self and other people, and that's not their responsibility. It's nice when other people validate us, but that is not a requirement for our living, and the human experience is to constantly be told by other people how great we are, how loved we are, blah 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 blah. Again, it's a part, it's not the main part. And I find that people who rely on other people in that way, they don't actually believe it. Like, it's like no amount of praise and no amount of confirmation and no amount of, you know, external energy actually soothes that wound, because that wound is always much deeper, right? This is really what's going on in your contract right now. This effective communication is about being in tune with others as well, and collaboration. Funny that I noticed that 3 of coins at the bottom of the deck, but learning how to be joyous. And I do think you're capable of feeling joy, but I feel like that joy is more of a performance right now in your energy than it is an actual expression. Joy can be spontaneous. Joy is like, one of my favorite ways to feel joy when I'm like really down in a rut without forcing it is to people watch, because it's a really contagious emotion that I find, I just personally, I get from, going to the park and watching people play with their kids, watching someone play with their dog, watching someone ride around the park on their bike and just enjoying the day. Like, it's fun. It feels good, because then it's a passive activity for me without having to interact with other people if I'm kind of in a rut. And also I still get to experience community. Like, maybe it came to my mind for a reason, because you also like doing that. Maybe you've forgotten that you haven't done that in a while and need to, but these 3 are great as what's actually around you, the energy. It feels very supportive and uplifting, but I think all you're actually focusing on in your energy is this Islands card. When it comes out, it reminds me too that whoever I'm reading is highly protected. So whatever you want right now, you cannot have it until you get through these things. You are protected from the things that you want right now, because they would either trigger your trauma and make it worse, or they're not in alignment with you and your values and your morals, and you can't see it because you're in a prolonged state of suffering. Whatever it is, it's not meant for you right now, whatever that 10 of Cups life is that you've been envisioning. And I have a feeling it's with someone specific, like you're focusing on a face in particular and you're not looking at the whole picture. Makes sense? Because otherwise you would know that just the idea of a happily ever after is totally attainable and completely on your timeline. But if it's not coming in with the specific person that you've envisioned it being, there's a reason. And sometimes it's not even spiritual. Sometimes it's just circumstantial that you and that person, like that person is not interested, right? And I'm not saying this to upset you or offend you, but like sometimes there's not always this larger reason that source is, keeping 2 people worlds apart, because it's this, torrid love affair, whatever it is. Like, some people get really lost in the idea that everything happens for a reason. I don't believe that that's true. I think lots of things happen for reasons. Oh my God, what a sign. What a sign to perfectly confirm what we're talking about. One of my favorite people in the entire world was thinking of me, and on her way to work, she stopped by to give me a tarot deck that she saw out in her travels, and she was reminded of me in that moment. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not saying that people, obviously the only way to show love is like by gift giving, but that's what I mean by in alignment. It's people who genuinely love and care about you and are meant to be in your life will be. You will cross their mind. They will think of you. They will do things for you, because love is an active practice. It is just a feeling that we feel for a lot of different things, but to show love and to engage with the frequency in love requires commitment to it in that way. Do you know what I mean? Like, for Right Collective, you'll know exactly what I mean, because I think you have people in your life, like I do, who genuinely love and care about you and show you all the time. And yet you're seeing your world as a 10 of Cups in reverse. That's what 5 of Cups upright embodies. So I think you are right there, where it's a little bit of spilled milk, but it's still troubling your soul. You're exhausted. You feel weak. Know what I mean? So again, getting back to what's actually around you. This Islands card is going to be very important, because you are being protected right now from the things that do not align with you. So they do not make your trauma worse, and they don't trigger you further and take you out of center so that you regress in your lessons. Some people think that the only way to heal is to jump out into the world and constantly trigger your trauma. But if you're not in a place where you can catch yourself, soothe yourself, you have the tools to deal with that, you're actually just hurting yourself. It's kind of an advanced skill to be in a place with your in your healing where you can just brave the world, and anything that comes at you, you're strong enough to defend yourself. You need to do lots of healing before then, in my opinion, anyways. Now, these three did come out like as a chunk together, but these two specifically are sticking out to me because if I'm asking the universe what's actually around you, you've got the iceberg and the uprooted, something that's going to be a radical break from the past, more than meets the eye, looking deeper into your subconscious. Buried memories could be surfacing right now. I'm hearing specifically in your dreams, but there's a hidden depth and a complexity to the illusions that you're telling yourself right now. There's deep changes on the horizon. When I read any cards, I see them as linear timelines unless I ask otherwise. So this being where you are and this is where you're going, it makes sense to me because they're preparing you for something here, something big, something that's going to literally be different than the past. And don't we all love to hear that? Unless the past was actually better than where you are right now. It's kind of uncommon for that to be the case for people, but there's some sort of forced change happening here, but it's going to be an opportunity. So I want to get one more for this lion and this maverick energy because that's clearly, oh, so that's what that perfectly confirms it. That's what's creating the storm. Being that rule breaker and being unconventional and nonconformist and standing up for yourself and being courageous. Look at what it's doing to your soul. They're trying to have you be in a place where you can weather the storm, where there's no total wreck, breakdown, feeling like you're over and done constantly, being torn up, expecting an end, a sudden and unexpected one, a violent total wreck. They want to take this out of your soul. It is so unsettling sometimes when I read people who this is what they're constantly anticipating. It's unsettling because it's sad people are so traumatized that they're just like the expectation of failure is just always on the horizon. But if you trust yourself outside of how other people treat you, if you trust yourself and you love yourself, then you know you can weather any storm. And the universe is not out to get you. It's just energy. It's benign. It's just frequencies. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't believe in some higher evil and good in the world. Like, it's just energy. Some is more powerful than others. You know what I mean? Oh, that's that weakness over passion. It's creating a storm. We need to get rid of it. One more for this dolphin energy. Whoop. The aha moment, the light bulb, great. So that's how they're wanting you to create effective communication and have harmony, is to realize through your enlightenment that you can be playful and humorous and fun and in tune with others and it not be that storm brewing, right? Especially if you have people in your life, again, who really love you, which I believe that they do, and you're not reaching out to them, like, when you're feeling this way, maybe you should start doing that with some like lighthearted, more instead of, constantly only reaching out to people when you're in emotional chaos is not great, right? It comes off in a bunch of different ways that a lot of people are not used to. Like, that's, you're treating your friends and your family primarily as a therapist and not as, a companion or whatever. But I do think that if this is what they're saying needs effective communication and harmony over, is some sort of light bulb moment. Like, this collective, you'll get exactly what I'm saying. I'm still having trouble in your energy, like getting the words out. It's that weakness. It's almost like, it's almost a nausea. I'm not gonna lie. It feels very like, oh, I don't even want to talk about it because it's getting to the point where it's just, there's something in my throat, like the back of my throat, that's just feeling very unsettled and queasy. And that could be the unsettledness you're also feeling from that storm energy. I get it. Um, what's this islands card? Ooh. Oh my gosh. So another card of independence. That is what this loneliness is trying to build in you. So whether you know it or not, you are a highly codependent person that was relying on other people almost entirely for your emotional well-being. This is what this islands card is trying to break you out of. Media has done a really horrible job of portraying unhealthy relationship dynamics in all areas, romantic love aside, as being acceptable and like, you know, successful in one way, shape, or form. But we have to remember that when we look at other people's lives through the lens of social media and even in our interpersonal relationships off the internet, we are not seeing every single waking moment of those two people's lives or that family's life or those friends' lives. And a lot of people, like 99.9% of people, are projecting out into the world, myself included, an image of how we want to be seen. It's an unconscious ego mask, right? We can do all the work to bring it down. And when we are comfortable and vulnerable with the people we love, it does. But for the rest of the world, it's a survival mechanism, right? There's very few people in the world who are just authentically 100% them 100% of the time because it's polarizing. Ask me how I know. This Islands card, they're wanting you to believe in yourself and have stamina when it comes to the uncomfortable emotions that you're feeling, right? Have confidence and trust your inner knowing. Be instinctual and resilient. Resilient. You have to have resiliency. So many people cannot handle, and there's a reason I said that. So many people cannot handle being by themselves for any amount of time. I'm not saying you need to maroon yourself on an island for decades, but if you can't go a week without feeling like you are never going to find happiness because you haven't had a deep, heartfelt conversation with someone, then that is something to reflect on. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not trying to give you a hard time, but I'm saying, like, think about it logically. Every day cannot be jam packed with these, like, deep, profound, Penny agrees, heartfelt conversations that make you feel like you're loved and supported. You have to believe that on your own without other people constantly telling you. Get what I'm saying? This collective, I have to say, if you are thinking about getting pregnant or you already are, that is something that is coming to my mind that will not leave my mind because I was so nauseous just a second ago when I got up to let Penny out. And the farther away from the tarot table I got, the more soothed the nausea was. So that is 100% your energy. Plus, I'm not a tummy ache girly. I'm a headache girly. So, like, I'm never nauseous. And I could not stop thinking about to mention it. There's nothing here about that, but it like wouldn't leave my mind. It would make sense to me too if you are thinking about being a parent and you are worried because you are single. I'll say this. There is nothing inherently wrong with being a single parent. Lots and lots and lots of people do it very successfully. But I can only imagine how much harder that would be to have to do it on your own. But that doesn't mean it's impossible. If that's something that you want to do and you feel like is really important to you, then that is your decision with your body. You have bodily autonomy, right? But if you're only making that decision because of other people or what society says or one specific other person, just keep it in mind. Because again, now I'm starting to feel nauseous. Now I'm starting to feel nauseous again. And or if you've just been noticing feeling very nauseous lately, and that is not one of your goals, maybe just go get checked, right? Find a Planned Parenthood in your area and just make an appointment to see what's going on with that. Because nausea, I'm not a doctor and I'm not going to make any definitive assessments, but like that feeling is so strong that I have to mention it. So anyways, let's see if I can get through this without you get your energy making me hurl in the nicest way. I don't mean that. Anyways, God, it is so strong. What's this iceberg? Okay, things that are looking deeper into your subconscious, buried memories and the illusions. You have the elephant over it. And the funny thing about this, I think I said it with this, is that your dreams could really be off. This is literally a card about lucid dreaming, but keeping your wits about you, being gentle, being wise, trusting yourself, easily removing obstacles and being telepathic and supportive. But in the other animal deck, I wonder if I got you one of those, you would get the elephant card. The elephant can both demolish obstacles, but also can create them at the same time. And when we're talking about the illusions of the mind, it's like I'm hearing this, and I promise this is not coming off as a judgmental thing, but I'm hearing it. If you're telling yourself maybe the way that you get out of the feeling that you're having right now emotionally about not having your 10 of Cups life is to just have a baby, maybe reconsider why you're having that impulse, right? Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with people who want to have children, but if you're doing it because you are trying to walk or you don't want to face loneliness and you don't want to face independence, then it is kind of destructive to use another living soul in order to fill that hole within yourself instead of doing the work to fill it. Especially if you consider that you're just using another person, baby aside, it could be literally anybody in life, to make you feel better, right? That's not something that we need to be doing. And if you really do want to be a parent, you would, hearing that, say, oh yeah, no, that's definitely what I don't want to do, right? There's some people out there who have not thought about it in that way, and so I'm just bringing it to your attention. There's a lot more going on here in your subconscious than I think what you're willing to or wanting to or have experience in addressing, and it needs to be addressed for it to come out this way, right? What's this uprooted? Oh, another card about confusion. So this interruption and this deep change that's happening in your contract right now, this separation, it's creating hesitation because you can't see the path forward. And that is okay. If you can, with 100% absolute clarity, see your path forward in life 100% of the time, one, how fucking boring. But two, that's not your path because we cannot predict the future. No matter how much you manifest. Me as a psychic medium, guys, I think people who don't understand how psychic mediumship works, they think that we can literally predict the future. We're reading energy and we're making predictions based off how the energy feels and what all our clairs are telling us. But energy can change, and it often does. Sometimes I will make a prediction for someone and it will come true, but it never isn't exactly the way that I said. And anybody who says that they can predict the future 100% of the time is 100% wrong. Like, that's not, you have to have humility. You cannot see the path forward. That's fine. And especially if you had been planning a 10 of Cups life with someone and that included children, and then you had a job and everything got wiped out. Why would you want to go back to that situation if it inherently failed? Even like rebuilding aside, there's something here about your independence, and there's something here about you not being able to see the path forward because your path is different now. That's okay. That's okay. You're not meant to settle in or find comfort in things that are not meant for you. Because that's when you get divine intervention moments. That's when you get tower moments. That's when you get those moments in your life where you realize you are so far down the wrong road and on the wrong path that God or creator or your higher something has to intervene to pluck you from your life and put you where you're supposed to be. And those are 10 times more painful. Your emotions right now don't tell me that you're going through that, and neither does your tarot on how you're seeing your world. But like, have some perspective. These misunderstandings and the things that are going on outside of your direct awareness are just that. That there's just things, destiny is shifting in the dark. You can't see every single fucking timeline. You're not meant to. I feel the need to say this because I went into this thing about being a psychic medium. I think anybody has these abilities and they just don't pay attention to them, right? Most people, I think, have the ability to have some clair activated in their mind, right? And they just, for whatever reason, don't realize that that's what it is. But all that aside, I don't think people understand how exhausting it is to see into the future or other timelines or other people's lives constantly, and with the over time, the experience that it requires you have to do so at the level that, a lot of really great practitioners do it. Like, it's energy work, but it's work nonetheless. And people who are constantly wanting to know the future, I think they really don't understand that. They don't understand that it's work. They don't understand that it takes so much out of you. And the reason I'm saying this is because I think this collective, clearly you're open to some sort of frequency because you're listening to tarot, but it is wearing you down the more you look into the future and you manifest and you're constantly focusing on things that are outside of your present view. It is literally draining you. You are feeling like you are weak, like you are a sitting duck, because you are spending your energy in the metaphysical 5D, whatever you want to call it, world, and not paying attention to your present. I know this feeling very intimately as someone who is a psychic medium, a seer, a practitioner of this energy. Because I've been this way my whole life. And you probably have too, to some extent, again, which is why you're upset that things have not worked out the way you've seen them to work out. But you don't actually know your timeline. You don't actually know the minute by minute. And again, how boring would that actually be? You don't realize it now, but let me tell you, it's really fucking boring to not have surprises, to not have those big aha moments. I'm not getting frustrated with you. It's just it's hard for me to be more my giggly, lighthearted self when I'm feeling as nauseous as I'm feeling. So don't take it personally because it's coming from a place of genuine love and care. But you have to focus on where you are right now and not the things that you do not have, which is the past, or the things that you know you'll get and a word you may not in the future. You're living your life away until you'll wake up at 50, 60, 70, 80, 100 years old and not realize that like you'll just be lost in your life, never having experienced the present moment. Your soul wants to with that joy emotion, but you're pushing it away. Just just chill. Just chill, my angel. I promise it'll be okay. There's nothing here. There's nothing here that indicates to me that you are living a life that is inherently corrupt or cruel or destined for failure or there's trouble around the corner. Like it's all here. And even though that's a real place where we all live, most of us live, your brain is just trying to keep you alive by anticipating outcome through pattern recognition. But listen to your soul and your heart, right? Listen to your dream space. They're trying to show you you're not seeing things clearly, and that's okay. You're not meant to right now. Work on yourself. Think about yourself. Like, truly think about yourself. Something that, ask any good parent, they don't really get to do, and they wish that they could. See it as a gift that you don't have someone who is relying on you to survive right now, right? Just food for thought. Last one for where you are right now in your life path. Yeah, you're sitting in a place of sorrow, but through this, you need to find the actual divine guidance that's being given to you. Your spirituality. It's oftentimes we feel most connected to a God when we're going through emotional loss, but sometimes I think that's for a reason. I don't think it's because people try to subvert pain. I think it's people who are genuinely connected into whatever faith that they kind of have. It's there for our comfort and our support. It's not just for when we're feeling uplifted and high vibration. And I said it in a reading the other day. I'm hearing myself say it. The more in alignment you are energetically, the less synchronicities and signs you actually see because it's the void period between ascensions. So really, you sitting in this cross energy, this loss energy, it's a necessity to really strengthen your conviction and strengthen your faith to yourself. And also, obviously, some sort of faith that you have for whatever you believe in. It feels like a crisis. It's meant to. Life is not all sunshine and rainbows and butterflies. That's just not life. It's actually not the majority of life. But when you look at back at it as a whole, you should be able to feel joy primarily for having experienced the full range of the human experience. Do you get what I'm saying? I hope you get what I'm saying. I think you will. But it's important because that whole life path, there's nothing about external gain. It's all about internal and how your brain is playing tricks on you. Know what I mean? Okay. I want to see what you're trying to break in your karmic debris right now. Remember the thing that's followed you from life to life to life to life. And I'm hearing this too. I'm hearing birth chart. You could really be getting into astrology. I say astrology is everything. And anybody who is a true astrologer, Vedic or tropical, both of those systems are incredibly great. They're just different. It doesn't matter what system you use. Even older than that, if you're a Zoroastrian, like it doesn't matter what system you use. Astrology is everything. It's everything. It's everything. It's the answers, right? Why do you think all major leaders, world leaders for all of time have had professional astrologers and numerologers on staff? Because it's a key. It's one of the necessary keys to opening doors in the universe. So if you've been having that impulse, get into it. Get all the way into it. Follow your favorite astrologers. Take notes when they make videos. Write things down. Correspond that. Go buy books. I have a video. It's easier probably to find on my YouTube channel of books and recommendations. And there's astrology books in there. It's purely just a video where I go over the books that I use and the tools that I use in my practice right now. So maybe go find that as well. But anyways, so let's see what you're trying to clear. Life after life, what's following you around? Oh, green. Look at these two. Like, look at how dark the green is on this. Your blocked heart chakra. So embrace healing. Healing is a journey, not a destination. What was I saying? Perfectly confirms it. So in every lifetime before this one, your beautiful, beautiful soul has really gotten distracted by the time of things. And I get it. That's probably the most annoying and profound lesson that any spiritualist learn, is how to surrender, right? Super, super, super important. Really, really, really fucking hard. But every lifetime before this, your soul could not settle into the present moment and just heal. Constantly looking for distractions, constantly looking how to add people to the equation so you didn't have to be alone, or, you know, find independence and whatever else it was. And you lost yourself in that. Your soul wants to, in this life, heal this so it can evolve. I'm hearing enough is enough. And that's not me. That's your higher self, right? Trust the process and know that every step brings you closer to peace. It really does. It really does. I'm trying not to go on too many tangents, but unlocking the pattern and trusting the path ahead, those, you need to get out of your head. You really, really do. You're exactly where you're supposed to be to learn this lesson. Your soul signed up to learn this lesson. And that is not me. These are your cards. So take it up with your soul in the next life. But I think your soul knows what it's doing. I really do. The pain didn't start today. You lived this loop before. Perfect. Maybe in love, maybe in lineage, awareness is key. I know you're looking for the pattern. That's what your brain loves to do. That's how we evolved, right? Is pattern recognition. That's the most adaptable part of being in the survivable equation. But as things unfold, you have to add new things, new variables to the pattern. Like, think about it mathematically. If something seems like a pattern seems random, then we just haven't been observing it for long enough or have enough information to see that pattern, right? Zoom out. Trust in the unfolding of your life. Every step is a part of the journey to becoming where you're meant to be. Every step. Without you going through what you're going through right now, you would not be able to have the big things that you want, because at the slightest sign of cracks in the foundation, you would immediately go outside yourself to try to fix the problem instead of recognizing what part you're playing in those dynamics. Because, and by the way, in your 10 of Cups life, you will be an active participant. It's not just going to be this, framed idea that you put on the wall or above your fireplace. It's a part of your life that you will participate in, which means you have responsibility in that dynamic. So what part do you play? Because that's all that you can control, is who you are. Get what I'm saying? I'm hearing this too, and this is so sad. And I touched on it a little bit while ago, but if all of your friends are getting married and having kids and you are in a place where it just hasn't worked out for you for one reason or another, I think you're probably younger than even me. But even if you're not, like, who cares? Eve agrees. Who cares? There's clearly other things your soul wants you to focus on. And I think you know that. Stop comparing to other people and their relationships and what you think you should be doing. Your soul knows better. It wants you to break this curse. Because I'll tell you what, and I see this a lot, people will settle in situations just to check things off their arbitrary list, and then they are so visibly broken. And they build resentment and hatred for themselves because they know they're letting people in their life down by pretending that they want to be a part of the situations that they're in. And it's just really sad. I know you wouldn't want to do that, but that really hurts other people. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, elevate your energy. Your energy determines your reality. Lift your vibration and watch your world shift. Truly. It's not just about being like toxic and positive. It's about your perception of reality. You're the only one who can change it. Hopefully I'm planting some seeds right now, but it's up to you whether you germinate those and let them sprout. Okay. I actually want to get right into seeing how Source sees your energy right now. I'm feeling the moth is going to come out. Hyena. Oh, that's one of my favorite cards, but you're making a joke about your life at the expense of what you actually want. Don't do that. If you want something, you have to take it seriously. But I think they're saying, oh, yeah, well, that makes sense. So you've got the hyena, the lion, and the shark. I love the hyena. It's about being the comic. It's about being the jester, and we need that. We need I'm someone who literally laughs through an entire reading. Like anybody who's ever seen anything that I put out or knows me personally knows that I'm the first one to make a joke. Always. It's just a part of my personality. How I deal with stress. My pressure relief valve. It's like deeply ingrained in me, and I'm just a funny person in my normal life, right? Like I am the comic. But when we do that at the expense of healing, like there's a time and a place for things. If you're joking about your healing, you're never actually going to heal. There's a difference between being like, oh, I'm like having a mentee bee, and like actually addressing the fact that you're unhappy and uncomfortable and not pushing through emotions in order to get to some arbitrary finish line. Get what I'm saying? This is how source is seeing your energy. We want to keep the lightheartedness. We want to keep, I'm literally hearing a hyena cackle. I love hyenas. You know, they're weasels. That makes them even funnier. Like, if you think about all the other weasels, like, it just makes them so much funnier to think. Like, they're not like canids or canines or whatever else. Like, they're weasels. So funny. Why am I seeing a wolverine too? They're also weasels, but like, they're so feisty and fierce. Um, we want to keep lots of those pieces of you, but we don't want to have this at the expense of your you being serious with yourself about what's going on. And you need to speak better to yourself, because for this to come out, you're very kind and soft spoken and empathetic with your words. But these two right next to each other, but then with the shark, it bubbling under the surface, they're saying you need to use this energy, being vulnerable, being kind to yourself. So then you can also, in collaboration with other people, find that energy. I'm seeing a dating profile. You could really like, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. It's been years since I've been on one, so I can only imagine what they're like now. Sometimes I see videos of people posting like the best and the worst. You could really have framed your profile to be very like nonchalant. I don't think that's going to get you anywhere. I think you need to use more of the slime energy. I'm going to read it to you so you can understand. Because again, this is how source sees your energy, so it's within you, but you're masking it with these two. You could also just really love lambs. They're so cute. They're so cute. I love the ones that are all black and you can like almost not see their eyes except for these just tiny, beautiful, glassy marbles. Oh, they're so cute. Okay. So peaceful, prophetic, and patient. The lamb is the bearer of an important message. It contains, its contents can only be heard when a deep level of quiet has been established. Lamb energy is the honest guidance you hear from an old friend, a young child, or sometimes a surprising stranger. Though the lamb's message may channel through another person, the wisdom resonates within you. It will repeat and reverberate until you listen. Approach this gentle creature with the utmost patience and reverence. Truth is a gift. Sit still and listen. So this message should be finding you to instill this within you. But if I'm asking again how source sees you, you are a truth teller. And it's hiding underneath hyena and shark energy. You can use those qualities to your advantage. But if you're not using them in your own daily life, when you interact with other people, it comes off as inauthentic energetically. And what I mean by that is like, remember how I was talking about the face? Watch the whole thing, or it's not going to make sense. But the mask that we all wear and we project out into the world as like a protection mechanism. When you're trying to be authentic and you're sitting in these sort of qualities and trying to balance them in your workplace with your loved ones, whatever it is, and you're trying to instill lamb energy, if it's coming out forced because you don't have practice doing it with yourself, other people may not be able to, and oftentimes won't, consciously, at the forefront of their mind, be like, this person's pretending to be, peaceful and prophetic. But their subconscious can, because energy doesn't lie. It's that lizard brain that people talk about. And then you come off as untrustworthy and you come off as manipulative because you're trying really hard to use an energy that inherently is within you, but you don't have practice using. The inner peace that comes from this comes from experience. And in order to experience that, look at the beautiful isolating bubble that Source is putting you in with the islands and the white wolf and the maverick and the lion card in your life path. They want you to understand this about yourself because it's clearly a part of your life, your mission work. Whatever your job, whatever you do for Pentacles, right? Because unfortunately, most people will not be able to do mission work in addition to a job under capitalism, whatever. I don't even want to get started on it today, but it's clearly a part of your unique code. And if you're not using it, that could also be where the pressure is coming from. Because when we don't use our gifts that are inherent to us, special to us, we become insufferable. We're this pressure cooker on high our whole life, and there's no outlet. There's no outlet. And look at how it's manifesting in your life. This shark card, too, and I'm hearing it, part of the description is the shark is only dangerous when it stops swimming. And that's that Seven of Wands. So you're just go, 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 go. But what you actually need to do is slow down and pay attention to your surroundings instead of just trying to push through the pain. Recognize it. Your pain's not special, but it is an important messenger. Cobra, striking message at the bottom. Let's see what archetype you're in right now. Oh, I just split it on the sword. Okay, what archetype are you in right now? Woo! 2. The ocean. You could have really oh my gosh, the eyes on this. So you got the tear and the ocean. Water. Water could be a really important thing that you need to integrate more into your practice. I give this advice almost all the time when stuff like this comes out. If you really want something, the best way to get it energetically is to ask water for it, because water is the fastest, most powerful moving of the elements, in my opinion. Wind is kind of on par, but I think it's like water, wind, fire, earth, right? Fire is fast, but it's also destructive. So anyways, and one of the first practices I tell people is to before you drink your water, right? Because we should all just be drinking water throughout the day. Not primarily, but just like we should be having at least a glass of water, is to speak into the water the things you want to embody for yourself. Like, I am grateful, thanking the water for bit. Like, it just creates this energy within the water that is very fast moving and it's quick, and you'll start to embody that energy immediately. Or shout, like thanking the water when you shower, so that when you do really want big things, you can ask water for it and then watch it come in, because all water is connected. So it's that energy. Imagine the whole globe under, like, all the water in the world, knowing what you want and moving energy to bring it to you. It's coming to my mind. But I also, the fact that you got these 2 eyes, you could have really beautiful, like stormy green or blue, even gray, which is super rare eyes, because those are really sticking out to me. Let me get these 2 for you. So the tear, it's droplets of letting go. Once they begin to fall, we allow the swelling of the tide of emotion to run its elemental course. Maybe you live next to a beach. They're like these are not even the same genre in this book, but they're clearly connected with the tide and then the ocean. You need to get down to the beach. You need to do some sort of water work. Or if you already have something in your practice, you need to up it. Some may say that tears are so powerful in softening our egos that they open up a portal to the unseen world. And I do believe that if you really want something and you're a highly connected person and you cry about it, I've seen more magic happen from tears than I think I've seen any other element. I once had I don't know why I'm being called to tell you this. I haven't done this in a long time, so it's not like I can have the energy rebounded off of it. But I used to have this tiny, tiny little itty bitty vial. And I had the idea one time to put tears in it when I was crying about something that I wanted, and I wore it around my neck, and just saying, it's very powerful. It's a very powerful emotion. And they're portals. It is likely this card appears when there is grieving yet to do, a sinking down into disappointment or despair. Once acknowledged, you will bring a shimmer of clarity to your dewy eyes. You need to go through whatever you feel that you don't have. You need to grieve that loss so that you can sit in independence. It's not that it's never going to happen. It means that right now it's not. And that is something to grieve. It's not something petulant or childish or something you need to push through. It's important. Because again, you're going to use this skill your whole life. Ask anybody who's gone through true grief. You grieve for your entire life. You do not get to a point, in my opinion, and from my experience talking to people, you do not get to a point in your grief, especially when it comes to the loss of loved ones, not just the loss of experience or ideas or whatever. You don't get to a point where it hurts less. You just get better at walking through it. But then the ocean, the unconscious, the depths, the incomprehensible, that It's, having the elephant. I'm seeing that last row in your life path, the unconscious, not being able to see things. You're in that archetype for a reason, to learn how to sit in comfort in the unknown. By its sheer volume, the ocean represents the unconscious, all that is beyond our understanding. We cannot live within the ocean. We cannot claim it, manage it, or own it. It rejects our every attempt to dominate nature. Yet, amid its overwhelming power, it calls to us, inspires us, and invigorates our life on land. It dissolves the little us into the big us. When the energy of the ocean is present, there is a change stirring that is beyond any change you've known before. The ego must dissolve. This is all your ego and your shadow. And I haven't even thought to get you one of these. Maybe I'll get you one in a minute. I think I'm hearing you would have turned away if we had gotten you one of those right away, because I think whatever it's dissolving in your ego is actually quite painful. But again, it's all for a reason. Life is change. Let the waves crash. So that's what they're getting you to sit in, wanting you to sit in right now and understand. Now let's just see what part of your ego. And remember, we're bringing this to the surface so it can heal, not so that you can dwell or, push it away or suppress. We're bringing it to the surface. You'll already know what it is, but so that we can become self-aware about it, right? So what is being triggered in this collective's ego? What is this? Reactive abuse with a blockage of the crown chakra. And that has been all over this reading. If you have watched the whole thing, you'd know that. But your sight is blocked for a reason right now. You are not seeing the path forward in the way that it exactly is. And that is okay. There's a reason I went into some of the things that go on in my life as a practitioner. You must be some sort of practitioner in one way, shape, or form. You don't have to be doing what I'm doing, but I say it all the time. There's so many different ways to use clairs in your everyday life. The clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairsentience, clairgustance, claircognizance. I can never say that one. But like some of the most profoundly healing people, like, criminal justice lawyers and environmentalists and doctors, have these abilities, don't even realize that they're using these abilities to be good at their job. Just have to throw it out there. But you are trying to apply your sight and your gifts to your personal life. It's not for you. It's a gift. It's for other people. I'm hearing put the cards down. Truly don't read your own energy. And let me tell you this from experience. You're reading your ego. If you're truly gifted in this way, for them to say your crown chakra is blocked, that comes out very rarely. That means that your crown chakra is one of your strongest in your whole body. They should be evenly dispersed, but for this collective, I think you will have the gift of sight in some way. Do not read your own cards. Do not do it. For one thing, again, you're just going to be reading your ego because it's so powerful when you start to tap into your own energy. It's like your ego will come up first before anything else, and you will see what you want to see. So if you're upset, you will see you're never going to find love again. If you're happy, you will see someone's about to knock on your door and propose to you. Do you get what I'm saying? But two, if you're a highly connected person, I find 9 times out of 10, you're not even reading your own energy and you really think it is, because you're so blinded by your personal experience and your ego that all you can see is your face and the people in your life. But really, it's a message that needs to be relayed in some way, shape, or form. So put the cards down. I find, again, just from experience, the longer you try to read your own energy, especially if you're doing it on like a semi-daily practice, oh God, all you're going to do is throw yourself into a tailspin. No wonder you're so confused. You've seen the beautiful things that will happen in your life, but they haven't come in when you wanted them to. Let it go. You can't actually see the timeline of things. But now this reactive abuse, this is really painful. This is really painful. So it shows up as reacting to emotional or physical aggression with defensiveness or impulsivity, often rooted in long-term mistreatment, may bring guilt, shame, or confusion, especially when you feel responsible without recognizing the toxic dynamics involved. So there's guilt tied in here, and I'm surprised it didn't come out in your emotion, but I think that's the part I'm hearing that's more painful than even just your past. This is clearly a cycle of behavior that has started since childhood, of you witnessing a dynamic in your caregivers or in your family in general of reactive abuse. So some of the things that could have looked like is when anybody tried to have autonomy over themselves and make choices that reflected things that they wanted. And it can be something as small as, someone deciding that they wanted to cook one thing for dinner instead of the other, or someone forgetting to do someone like doing the laundry, like something that is a mundane, average, everyday thing where someone's just trying to go about their whatever, and then someone is reacting to that in a very abusive way because it's a trigger. It especially though comes from, that's just an extreme situation. It usually comes though from being held accountable and someone trying to have some sort of conflict resolution with another person, and then the person who's being confronted with behavior or a situation or whatever becomes abusive in their reaction. So it makes, I'm hearing both. Like, I understand with actual reactive abuses, I'm not a doctor, but like I understand what it clinically is. There's a reason the first one came to my mind. Did you hear that motorcycle? They are not supposed to be on that sidewalk. Sorry. Drives me nuts. Because it's that long-term mistreatment that I'm getting stuck on. Is I think this started when you were a kid, where you just saw that like the extreme reactivity was such a normal thing that now you're doing it and it's happening to you in ways that it's not textbook. Do you get what, like, I think for the right collective, you'll know exactly what I'm saying. The guilt though that's in that. No wonder they're trying to get you to embody lamb energy and take things seriously while also recognizing your pain. It's all making so much more sense to me now. So, and I'm saying this in the nicest way, you're a runner. And when you're not in a runner, you're explosive. But it's because there's all this pent up energy in your soul. And now I'm thinking back to your life path. No wonder they're trying to teach you independence. You can't work on this with other people because you're reactive. And you'd be calling in people who are also reactive to try to make you self-aware. And I think you've been doing that your whole life, but it's getting to the point where sources like, we can't keep sending this person mirrors to themselves, which is what a lot of people are. Without it being dehumanizing, people are karmic. That's a lesson. It doesn't mean toxic by necessity. But what we call in with our energy is someone who either mirrors our beautiful, amazing qualities, and we haven't realized the possibility of those yet, or they mirror the things in our personality that we need to change, our faults and our flaws, which everybody has, right? I think you've been calling in people who also have reactive, abusive tendencies, but it's getting to the point where you're not seeing that lesson and it just becomes triggering and igniting. And so they're trying to instill literal, like a bubble around you for you to work on it, but you're just seeing that as loneliness. You can't be around other people in a deep emotional connection right now with this being here. And I think you know that. I knew that this was going to be heavy, but it feels so much heavier than I was anticipating. And now maybe the nausea makes sense because you could be sick to your stomach thinking with guilt, thinking about the past. I want to get one more for that. Lacking boundaries will show up as difficulty saying no, overcommitting, and feeling drained by others' demands. So that's what would have been triggering the reactive abuse. Fear of rejection or the desire to please leading to neglecting your own needs. So, and I think that again, I have to like what I'm feeling, and you tell me if this is right, if this is really a reading. What I'm feeling is that this is such a deeply ingrained pattern in your soul from trauma that you're not even seeing how it's manifesting in the smallest little ways. So, someone having a boundary with you would create a reaction in you because you feel like, for whatever reason, because you have no boundaries set up in your own life, you feel like it's an attack, and it creates aggression. And defensiveness, which makes you impulsive. Meanwhile, you're terrified of losing whoever that person is, but you don't know how to conflict. You don't know how to have healthy conflict resolution. If someone is bringing something to your attention that you've done or said, or like a dynamic that you guys are in, it's because they want to fix it. It's typically people don't do that or make themselves uncomfortable in, conflict resolution if they don't care about the other person, right? Like, it's very, very rare that someone would do that just to upset another person. And that's a whole other ball game that's just not happening here. So we're not even going to get into it, but you are also lacking boundaries, but you're seeing the boundaries others people are placing on you as this attack, and that's not right. That's not right. Watch the whole reading, because up until that, no wonder I didn't get these. This would have turned you away from this reading 100%. But I think you need to hear it. You need to hear this. You're neglecting your own needs by constantly being in a state of fight or flight and trigger. And now I'm thinking back to your emotions too, the emotional whiplash between joy and weakness. You would, because again, just everything I've said, it needs to be worked on. Guilt and shame at the bottom. I believe that for this collective. Let's read that. It says, shows up as a constant sense of unworthiness, like carrying the weight of the past mistakes that won't release. May manifest as self-judgment, over-apologizing, or struggling to forgive yourself, keeping yourself in limiting compassion. So, and I haven't gone into it in a while, so I think it's probably important to do so. The difference between guilt and shame is that shame is I am bad and I don't want anybody to know, and guilt is I've done bad and I don't want anybody to know. You can see how guilt would be a more instructive emotion, because it gives us a way subconsciously to look for improvement naturally. But shame has very, in my opinion, very few applications in the real world. Definitely doesn't belong in inner healing, when we're starting to recognize our patterns, because it self-fulfills a prophecy of helplessness. If you are bad, then subconsciously your brain is saying, well, what's the point in fixing it if I'm just bad and I'm just like this? And that's not true. You have to take responsibility for yourself. If you sit in shame, you will perpetuate a narrative that your ego wants to sit in, but it's clearly something that is destroying your higher self and destroying your soul. Wouldn't be surprised, again, if it's affecting your meat suit, which it would be, your meat compass for your life, in whatever way, making you sick to your stomach. You need to start recognizing these patterns within you before you can even approach the idea of things like making amends and rectifying the past. It's just by seeing the situation clearly. And then once you start healing, reaching out for forgiveness, if that's something that you want to do as a part of your healing journey, will be that much easier, because other people's acceptance of apologies and you making amends will not be critical to the idea of you letting go of shame and guilt, which it shouldn't be. Nobody should be apologizing just to soothe their own wounds. It should be to show other people that we know what we've done is bad and to soothe them, right? Love is an active process. That's what I mean by that. Okay. What do I even want to get now? I guess let's get what comes next for you, just like in the short term. So those are the adjustments that need to be required, that leading message. And those are a lot of adjustments, but regardless, I think, again, this collective, you clearly need to hear it for me to be called to do a reading. So what comes next for your beautiful soul? Okay, so you did get a timing card, the autumn equinox, preparing for change. This card says a few months. The autumn equinox would be in about 6, but it's harvest season nonetheless. You've got 5 of Wands in reverse. Love that, because that's about restoring harmony from a from a conflicting place. 5 of Wands upright is literally a card of chaos. Arguments can be a card of actual fighting. So in the future, this will be restored, this harmony. It's going to take time though. 6 months, it would be such a generous offer from the universe, for you to get a handle on what's going on internally in your soul. And you could be a superstar and just catapult yourself into healing and do the work, but don't rush through it, because that was another leading message of this whole reading. You've got 4 of Cups upright, and that is why I'm worried, because this card says a self-serving disinterest, but it's really sitting in a place where we're understanding missed opportunities and we're feeling unmotivated, because there's a depression and a reluctancy there that makes us feel wary and bored. So it's like they want you to work on everything we've talked about, but I don't think Source wants you to have the idea that it's just to restore harmony externally. It should be for you internally. You should not be going about things for external gain. It should be because you're going to repeat whatever pattern you've been perpetuating in your relationships with every single person in the future until you start to change it. And what would be worse, by the way, is after watching this reading, you being aware of those patterns and then perpetuating them anyways. Talk about shame. You think you're feeling it now. knowing you're doing wrong and doing it again and again and again, that's how you get yourself in a really hard place to get out of. Just saying. Now, you do have Ten of Swords here, and this is about changing an outcome, but I'm worried because it's right next to this deserving self interest. Great that you've got a prepare for change, harvest season, sort of, expressing gratitude of making long-term plans. But I think this is more of a loose suggestion from source to keep your eye on the ball long term, not look short term at your wanting to just get out of a storm, right? It really confirms everything we've already talked about. So what's the advice here? One more. So you've got Six of Cups upright with Ace of Coins in reverse. That's a rough one in reverse because it takes years to ground and years to perpetuate when it's upright. Did I say it was upright? It's in reverse. Anyways, Coins and Tarot's ears, Pentacles and Tarot. So the unstable situations that have delays, that's been brewing for a very long time. And again, we know that. But you need to be putting everything under review in a much more individual, how do I play a part? I need to remove myself kind of way. It can literally also be a card about greed. And I don't think that you're a greedy person, but I get that there's so much that we went into in this reading about possessiveness. If you really are someone who believes in manifestations, I'm hearing like the idea of being able to just think into existence the big things in your life, the energy you're projecting out is a greedy one for this to come out. And as far as I understand it, that's not the frequency that brings in manifestations. I don't think you can just think about things and have them. I think people who can master manifest are just clairvoyant and can see the future, but that's neither here nor there. This Six of Cups, this comforting connection, it's a risky endeavor. Whatever you're a part of or were a part of, I can't imagine you'd still be in something. I think you're probably just on the cusp of something ending and wanting to start it up again. Maybe you still are in some sort of connection or, deeply close-knit family, close friend. There's something here where the tenderness, love that. The sweet things in life, love that. The soulmate connections we make, love that. But it has to come from a place of innocence. These two together say that whatever you're trying to accomplish, it can't just be lighthearted. And I'm saying this in the nicest way, grow up. The work that needs to be done here is profound. You are up to the task and we all have our trauma, but the reactive abuse, you are going to hate yourself if you do not work through that. And if that's what's happening to you, then it is inherently not a soulmate connection. Even if it is, that person needs to work on themselves. Why would you want to be the bearer of that sort of destruction, damage, and hurt? Do you get what I'm saying? Put it under review. It's shaky. You need to literally see all the details. There's going to be delays here time and time and time again. I'm not predicting an omen, right? This isn't a portent, but there's a reason why I said divine intervention moment. You will be headed for one of those with this advice if you don't heed the call to do the work. All right, little semi outcome. Let's just see kind of where the energy is moving. That's good. Oh, that's good. So if you can do the work, look at where you're going to sit in. Emperor energy with Ace of Cups. Oh, that's nice. It's quite the leap, though, I have to say that, because I don't think you're sitting in it now. Hold on. I really want to get you. Which one do I want to get, though? I kind of want to get this spicy deck. You could have a lot of tattoos. When I go for this deck, it's someone who looks very alternative, but or is just into like an alternative lifestyle, because this is the Tattoo Tarot. I actually just very quickly, for them to say you can come out as the Emperor with overflowing emotion, I really love this combination because it's divine masculine energy, which is about being action oriented and getting things done, coming from a more logical place, having authority and being protective, but being powerful in your stability. He rules over all the other kings and all of their kingdoms. He's emperor to an empire, right? But next to a card of overflowing emotion, that's heart center, which is more divine feminine. So they're wanting you to find the balance between the two. But I don't think that you can just rule through this, what you're doing, with Emperor energy. I think they're actually saying that you have that Emperor energy already within you. It's to work on your Ace of Cups, which is, overflowing emotion, understanding that your cup is completely filled to the brim and you have energy and time and emotion to spare for other people. So I want to just see how Source is seeing you as a person right now, not the future outcome, but right now. Here's how you're seeing this beautiful collective right now. One more. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. So Hierophant, that's so funny. I was like, you can live an alternative lifestyle. Hierophant in reverse is about being unconventional, thinking outside the box, walking to the beat of your own drum, but in that finding freedom and acceptance. So they're confirming it, but you've got Queen of Cups in reverse here. So that's what they're wanting you to work on again. I just wanted to confirm it for the outcomes, because you can't just power through the lessons that need to be learned right now. You need to connect to your emotional side. And I'm not going to lie, Queen of Cups in reverse, she sits in that ivory tower. She's a victim. She doesn't admit when she's wrong, because whether she would ever say it out loud, even to herself or not, she likes suffering. She likes being in pain, because then other people are forced to either acknowledge it and take care of her. She's an energy vampire. I'm not saying you're all those things, but think about it. They're seeing you as a person. You can wallow in despair and then not do the work. She doesn't do the work. She doesn't want to come down from that ivory tower. She can also be very emotionally manipulative. So keep that in mind. That's what they're seeing right now. I don't want you to go about this in just like plowing forward, intellectual kind of way. You need to connect to your emotional well-being. And Death energy. So they do see that you are a catalyst for change for other people, but also in your life, you are used to endings and losses. But that is a skill or a tool that you wield in certain situations. You shouldn't just feel like you're perpetuating this constantly. There's a reason a minute ago I said that you're not cursed. You're not. You're seeing the lesson incorrectly. It's a part of how Source is seeing you. Death energy, you could be a Scorpio, but you need to see that you are transformational by nature. You have this within you. It's a skill. Okay? You are not the victim of your life, of your world. Very rarely is anybody ever a true victim, and this is not it for you. Okay. You need to heed the call, Justice on the bottom. Let's get you an advice card and an angel number card very quickly. We'll close this out, because I have a very full schedule today. Okay. Angel number for this collective. Romantic relationships. Reconfigure your loving connection. You're being asked to change up the way you're doing things in romance. Perfectly confirms it. Which right now, they're trying to push you into isolation. If something has just ended, let sleeping dogs lie. If you know something's headed for the woodpile, let it go. Let it go. You need to work on yourself. Your angels would like you to take today to reflect and reconfigure how you go about connecting with others. Give yourself a hug and feel the love you have within yourself, and the abundant flow throughout your body and your soul. Yeah, loving yourself, and I said it before, that's like truly the key to unlocking a lot of this right now. Love! Look at that! Love is the foundation of your existence, and you're just as worthy of receiving as you are of giving love and compassion. While love can be beautiful emotion, it is equally a form of energy that propels you through life. So you're a lover, and we get that. But do you love yourself? Do you? Look at how the colors match up too. That's fun. You need to work on this, right? How you love, why you love, not being reactive when you feel like that's being threatened from the outside world, right? The fear of abandonment, the whole thing. Watch the whole thing. You got this. Good luck. Oh.